The Institute of Classical Architecture and Art is an educational organization dedicated to the advancement of the practice and appreciation of the classical tradition in architecture, urbanism, and the allied arts. The Schutze Awards are named for the Atlanta architect and classicist Philip Trammell Schutze, who won the very first Arthur Ross Award for Excellence in Classical Architecture at its launch in 1981. These awards fulfill the chapter's goal through continuing exposure and recognition to inform both laymen and professionals of the enduring excellence, appeal, and importance of traditional art, design, and all those who contribute to its advancement.
I think the Institute is pretty much the only organization out there that's producing education for practitioners concerning classical architecture. I think the Schutze Award itself really was a statement of validation of the importance of classical architecture, the importance of the education that we were providing locally, and the high quality and caliber of the work that was being performed in the Southeast.
This year, the Southeast chapter has chosen to recognize the vital contributions of patrons and advocates, those who not only appreciate the classical tradition, but who support the vital mission of our local community working outside the realm of practice. Without such patron support, the mission of the organization, fulfilled as it is through 4 program areas: education, publication, awards, and advocacy, would fall short.
My training that I would consider classical training occurred after I left school. I actually ended up in Italy and walked into one of Palladio's villas, and for me it was an enlightening. I might describe it as a religious experience. It was overpowering and overwhelming emotionally, and I'd walked into what I considered was a perfect space. And it was as perfect at that moment as it was 500 years ago when it was designed and built. I went there and I touched it, and it touched me. And I came back with a real passion.
I think a training and a good grounding in the understandings of classical architecture and the language of classical architecture is key to producing quality classical architecture. And in fact, I think most architecture is rooted, at least in some understanding of classical principles.
As our firm became successful and I had time to think a little more than the survival mode of architecture of the firm, I started wondering, I said, well, if I missed this and I happened to fall upon it kind of by accident by traveling in Italy, all these other people are just simply not being exposed to it. And that means that we're losing a lot of opportunities for people to become great architects and contribute very much to the built environment. Knowing that's missing, you have to step up to the plate and contribute and be involved. And so I'm still involved at Tech. I'm involved in other institutions. I'm passionate about supporting students, I'm passionate about scholarship, and passionate about being part of the solution.
There is clearly a societal need and a demand for classical and traditional architecture in the world. And his gift to the college allowed us, in fact, to create a visiting scholars program to bring in people who are the leaders in classical design in the country to teach studios. And without that, we would not be able, in fact, to dedicate a specific faculty position to that. Particularly in this era of rapidly declining budgets.
My education at Georgia Tech was very beneficial for me. It really formed the foundation for how I engage in the practice of architecture. I was able to take a number of classes that I might not have been able to take otherwise.
I am very thankful for the classes that were offered in traditionalism and history while I was at Georgia Tech, and I sought them all out. I think I took every one I could. It trains your eye to start to see things in a different way. So you start to see proportion in materials and how things patina and how just simple building construction methods that I wasn't necessarily getting in studio. So it took that kind of extra exploration, and I was able to broaden my design experience in those classes.
Bill's generosity has helped us do that, not just in a sense of augmenting things, but in providing courses and providing access to faculty, to practitioners that we otherwise would not have been able to do. And that is absolutely essential.
Not only was our work getting better as the people who worked for me gained this education, it freed me up in my time as they understood more what I was trying to do and could read the language that I was producing. The principles of classical architecture and the principles of beauty that come to us through classical art have been around for thousands and thousands of years, and that's what this education helps us produce and convey to people who don't necessarily understand it. They do understand that it's beautiful and that it feels and looks better than something that is just imitated.
This year, the chapter has created the new Medal of Vesta, named after the symbol and protector of ancient Rome and the keeper of the communal flame. This is the vital force at the core of a healthy community.
I would like to thank the ICA for this honor for myself and the firm, Harrison Design Associates. And my understanding, the Medal of the Vesta means keeper of the flame. And I think that's what I've been saying earlier. It's important for us to keep the torch burning, pass the torch to the next generation, and they continue on with passing it. And this is our future. The people in this room, the educators that are here tonight, the practitioners, the clients that are here, the patrons, the general public is here, the suppliers, the craftspeople. I could go on and on. I could start thanking my, mother and father and all that stuff. But the reality is the people in this room are the keepers of the flame. It's not me, it's everybody and everybody involved. So I would say I accept this honor, but I only want to accept it with tasking everyone to remember what this is about and take it one step beyond ourselves and move it to the future. And I think the ICA, I think architecture is improved drastically in my lifetime, and I will think it will improve drastically in the future generations because we're becoming more wise, we're developing wisdom. We've tried all kind of experiments, some good, some bad, but we're learning. And as long as we educate each other and then distribute and pass that knowledge on, that's what we want to do. So thank you very much.